All right, so I want you guys to watch this and tell me if this makes any sense to you because I was told there's satellites. There's 14,000 plus satellites up there. And in movies in the early 90s, even like Enemy of the State, they would show satellites zooming in on a suspect and they would know exactly where they're at. So if they told me that in the 90s that we've had satellites up there capable of zooming in on people and catching, murder suspects or whatever, then why the hell are they using planes?
We're back with a story about eyes in the sky, controversial crime-fighting surveillance planes that could be filming everything happening in your city. It's technology developed for the military, and critics say it's an invasion of privacy. Gabe Gutierrez has the details.
You're about to see the murder of a police officer in broad daylight, captured from a small plane. The officer's vehicle is circled in red.
You're going to see her run right into this parked car here.
She's being chased by cartel members in Juarez.
It's funny because this is what you would think satellites do, right? Zoom in, be able to see stuff like this. But no, they have to fly a plane above the city. Why? I thought there's, 14,000 satellites up there.
Mexico.
They pull up again beside her. She was shot 6 times in the head and shoulders. And then these guys blast out.
You can't identify who fired the shots, but you can tell where the assassin's car came from and where it went next. That, says Ross McNutt, is the key to solving the brutal crime.
If this plane hadn't been there, this murder probably would never have been solved.
Correct. We believe that this will revolutionize policing.
McNutt is an Air Force veteran whose company in Ohio,
His name's McNutt. I don't know, it's just funny to me.
Persistent Surveillance Systems, wants to roll out the battlefield technology.
And then, of course, they show a globe.
Is an Air Force veteran whose company in...
Yeah, there's your globe. That also looks like a giant eye. Look at their logo. Looks like a big old eye. Give me a break.
Ohio, Persistent Surveillance Systems wants to roll out the battlefield technology in U.S. cities after he developed it for the military in Iraq.
Why would they have to have that for the military? I thought we have satellites. Hello? Tax money has been spent to build satellites and put them up in space and orbit the Earth so they can capture videos of murderers on the street up close and whatever. Take a picture of them from a satellite. It's because satellites are fake. They don't exist. They never did.
This is actually the camera system here.
This Cessna is equipped with 12 powerful cameras. It can hover more than a mile above a city for hours at a time, capturing everything in public view.
We'll take the picture of a city, 32 square miles of a city, once a second at resolutions that we can just barely follow a person to and from a crime scene where they can't. Once a second at resolutions that we can just barely
11 times 3, 33.
follow a person to and from a crime scene where they came from before the crime, even though we may not have known that crime was going to be committed.
Once someone calls police and reports a crime, technicians can zoom in on a recording of a particular area, essentially turning back the clock.
Look, it looks like satellite footage, right? Dude, satellites don't exist, people. Seriously.
To look for evidence.
This plane is doing everything that we have been brainwashed to think satellites do.
Are these spy planes?
We can call them community support planes.
With 348 homicides in 2019, one of the deadliest years on record, Baltimore plans to start a pilot program in May. St. Louis is also considering it.
Wouldn't it just be easier to hover a couple satellites over that place? Or to have a bunch that just keep passing by and taking images and video?
For other cities across the country.
Instead of wasting money on fuel for a plane and paying a guy money per hour to take pictures from a plane?
What do you say to people who argue that this is an invasion of privacy?
There are always trade-offs between privacy and security.
Yeah.
We're going to accept cameras at banks. Why? Because it helps deter people from robbing banks.
What about cameras at a stoplight on a street corner in my neighborhood? Why do we need cameras there? Is it so you guys can take pictures of children and who you're going to kidnap next?
In this case, our goal is to solve otherwise unsolvable crimes so that those people and those families get justice.
But the American Civil Liberties Union says this eye in the sky is more than a slippery slope. It's a cliff.
It's a huge invasion of privacy and probably unconstitutional to allow the government to track everybody in a city without individualized suspicion that they're involved in wrongdoing.
Baltimore will have 3 planes flying over different parts of the city.
Look at this. 3 planes to do all this. What about satellites? Hello?
during daylight hours. McNutt argues his system is cheaper and more effective than a police helicopter, and that the
Is it cheaper than, I don't know, having one of the 14,000 satellites that are supposedly up in outer space? You know, come over and take pictures and video?
visual evidence can be used in court.
So it's possible in some cases this might help exonerate people.
Absolutely.
For now, private donors are financing this experiment. If it's successful, more communities could soon find themselves under a watchful eye. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Dayton, Ohio.
When we come back.
Ridiculous. Satellites don't exist, people. Go ahead, Google an image of a satellite. It's all fake.